One thing that we have been able to discover is that the ways and manner the court in Nigeria is structured has affected the delivery of judicial benefits to the Nigerian people. First of all, if you want to appoint a judge now, the governor of Ondo State or the people of Ondo State could not on their own say this is the person we want to employ to work for us as a judge. There is still somebody there in Abuja who does not even know how the court system in Ondo State runs. They have to determine the number of judges that could be appointed at any point in time, not looking at the problems, whether civil or criminal, that is happening in Ondo State. Somebody will have to determine it. Then even the payment system.
That's the NJC. You're referring to the NJC, okay?
The payment system equally, it's basically not in tandem with the job these people do. And when you look at the whole gamut of this, you discover that a structural dial must be used to go through the whole system. When you look at people who work in the various ministry of justices, what are they doing? Is what can we say that what they are being paid is commensurate with the job they are doing? Can we say they are doing the job as it's supposed to be done? These are areas that we have to look at. Then in the dispensation of justice itself, when a judge has to handle about 30 to 40 files per week, aside from that, look at our Supreme Court, look at our Court of Appeal. Some of us have advocated, and I think Chief Gayani Fayemi has been saying it even before he passed on, that they should decentralize the judicial system. Look at it. As I speak, I don't know, my friend will have been in the court of, the Supreme Court of recent. You discover that the cases that are being handled in the Supreme Court today now could be that of maybe 2003, 2008, that the Supreme Court is actually looking at currently. Some of us have said, why is it impossible for us to have the Supreme Court just like it's done in the United States?
At the state level.
At the state level. No, let's say even at the zonal level. Geopolitical levels. The cases that will only go to the Supreme Court are maybe constitutional cases. Or the one, because yesterday now, I listened to Agbakoba.
For instance, like
Agbakoba was talking about...
Like the naughty issue of FCT, which is being...
that one is just people are trying to be mischievous because there's nothing to discuss in that area. But people will just, politically, this is a political season, people will just talk. But like yesterday, Agbakoba raised an issue. He was talking about, is it impossible for the parliament, after the Supreme Court will have taken certain decisions, then is it impossible for us to revert it back to the parliament to do some kind of judicial review? And I was wondering, a man of that caliber, because, and the reason why he's saying that is that so many things have been happening at the apex court these few years that makes it people not to have too much confidence in the judiciary or the apex court, as it were. But for me, anybody that wants to be the president of Nigeria will have to do something, not only in the judiciary, but since we are talking about the judiciary, we have to look at the constitution itself. All those powers that are given out, donated to some quasi-judicial powers, and then some powers that are given to the courts that ordinarily could be handled administratively, they have to be shared. And then let the court face the reality of what they are supposed to do, starting with appointment of judges or justices. Why is it impossible that for us? We have seen it in this country. Elias became the Chief Justice of Nigeria from the classroom. Why is it impossible for us to have somebody, lecturers and people like that, to come to the, why do we have to wait for one principal or supervisor in Abuja before you can bring people upstairs? And you equally look at it too. By the time people who have the intellect, the capacity to become Chief Justice or get to the Court of Appeal, many of them are already old. And because of that, we just gather certain people. If you know somebody, if you don't know somebody, you are there. So for me, I will say that Asiwaju will do the Nigerian nation a lot of good. And maybe the legislature will have to do a surgical operation into the constitution and equally deal directly. Where there is the political will, then you'll be able to do such thing. If you don't have the political will, I'm sorry. And I believe that Asiwaju has that political will.